Hello, everybody, and happy holiday week. I'm Zach, and to your right, and the other voice you're going to be hearing tonight is my co-host Brad. And tonight we are going to be previewing this week 13 matchup as the Cincinnati Bengals head to Baltimore on Thanksgiving night, hoping to see some Ravens players killing some turkey legs. That is my dreams. Mr. Brad, how are we doing today, man?
We're doing pretty good. As you guys can probably see, my setup is a little bit different as normal. I am in the basement of my mom's house, standing up at a shelf. So that's what we're rocking with today and Thursday. Um, Pretty cool though to sort of have a different experience recording the pod than what we're used to. I know Zach's going to be out of town on Thursday, so that'll be both of us be in a completely different situation then. Um, but yeah, man, Thanksgiving week. We can't escape the Ravens plan on holidays, Zach. We've had to deal with Christmas the last 2 years and Thanksgiving this year. When don't do anything, when you're just like a fan, it's great. When you sort of cover the team, it's not as fun. And, think about the coaches and the players. Lamar's basically mentioned, like, Lamar was at his presser today was like, I wish we weren't playing on Thanksgiving. He literally just straight up said, I wish I was eating turkey and watching football with my family, but
Oh,
he's thankful to play. So, uh, fun situation. The Thanksgiving schedule this week, Zach. Packers Lions at 1, Chiefs at Cowboys at 4:30, and then Bengals at Ravens at night. I cannot remember a slate this good on Thanksgiving.
yeah.
Think about all the times where we were kids and teenagers even. Lions getting blown out at 1 because they or 12:30 when back in the day because they always sucked.
Mm-hmm.
The Cowboys game has always been kind of decent because they have been decent throughout our life. Sometimes it's been bad though. And then I swear the night game always sucks for some reason. It's like Falcons Vikings or something like that. So 3 good games is awesome. So I'm excited for the day. It's going to be a fun week. And then, the Black Friday game, college football all day Friday. It's a great week in sports.
Fantastic week in sports. That Chiefs Cowboys game, they're projecting it to be the most viewed non-primetime game of all time. So that'll be sweet leading into what might be the biggest headline of the week, which is Joe Burrow's return, and that being against the Ravens. But before we get into it, we'd appreciate you all for liking the video if you have not already, and subscribing as well if you have not already. Appreciate all the support that you guys give us, comments, live chat like right now. Appreciate you guys for being here. Let's get into it, Brad. Last year was some of the most unbelievable games in my experience as a Ravens fan. Both games, Ravens win, thankfully. Ravens 35-34 and then 41-38. Both games, one of which had a 10-point comeback or 14-point comeback. The other one had a 10-point plus comeback 3 different times, and the Ravens won. Total offensive outpour in these games. It is must-watch television, and I'm sure the NFL is licking their chops knowing that Burrow has returned, and this has potential to be that way again. We're going to get into the injury report, which has a name or two that are worth mentioning. But before we do that, the game is on Thanksgiving night, 8:20 p.m. Eastern time on NBC/Peacock. Ravens are favored by 7 with an over-under of 52.5. 7's an odd number. You'd think that I think it was 7.5 originally, so that's kind of worth noting that it might even slide to 6.5 because I think more people are just getting confident in the fact that Burrow is returning and they want to ride with him and Jamar's connection. Weather looks to be 35 degrees and clear skies. The injury news is what we need to get to the most. I want to start on Cincinnati's side because those are the biggest names. We kind of know the spiel that happens most of these weeks with the Ravens. We'll get to that, but I want to talk about the Bengals. T. Higgins has concussion. That was looking really, really scary in their game against the Patriots. Trey Hendrickson is out. Jamar Chase was suspended last week because he spit on Jalen Ramsey and he returns. Joe Burrow has been injured since what, week 2 or 3 now,
Week 2, yeah.
and those 4 names I just read off: Higgins, Trey Hendrickson, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, the most important players on their team, and all featured on our injury notes. So, Brad, what do you think about not seeing the 2 studs in Higgins and
Yeah.
Hendrickson, and also the fact that, his inevitable return and Burrow and Jamar being there as well?
Yeah, even with Trey Hendrickson, this Bengals defense is the worst in the NFL. So without him is even worse. Obviously, there's honestly, when we're going to get into it, there's not a ton to talk about with the Bengals defense just because of how terrible they are. Like, it's easy to talk about a team when they're really good or when they're average. When
Yeah.
a team is just terrible on one side of the ball, it's almost kind of hard to talk about because they're just bad at everything. T. Higgins being out is massive. I don't want to get into too much of it because we're about to talk about that, but obviously a great player. I think he is the best number 2 receiver in the league. Um, I was, I guess I'd say I was disappointed they were able to keep both of them. I was excited for T to go, to the Packers or the Patriots.
Yeah.
But we've sort of seen what happens when you pay 2 receivers that much money. So I don't know. The Bengals offense has obliterated the Ravens the past couple games. So obviously wish T was playing, wish he didn't have a concussion, but just in terms of the Ravens defense in this one, it'll definitely be a lot easier only dealing with Jamar Chase.
Yeah, absolutely. And I should say specifically before, anything official, happy Thanksgiving, Sutton. That was funny timing. But before anything official from Joe Burrow and the Bengals, the last thing Zach Taylor said was that he anticipates him playing. So it's not a confirmation that he is. This is also me hanging on to the last thread of hoping that Flacco is the starting quarterback, but also just preparing us for some news that might be a headliner going into Thanksgiving. But yeah, the defense, I won't say any stats yet, but it's obviously one of the worst in the NFL. And then also, Trey Hendrickson was really their only hope. When you talk about the Jets or the Browns, when we'd played them in the past and having issues, I guess, offensive to their defense side, it was a couple of difference makers that really kept them around. And it was a couple of DBs in the Jets game. And then for the Browns, it was Myles Garrett. Now their one playmaker, at least stud D lineman playmaker, is out of there. So hopefully we get another easy kind of out, I guess. Maybe another chance for the offense to get going. But let's go to the Ravens injury side. Lamar was missing Monday and he returned today. This was with a toe injury, that's to note. And I think it was something that occurred in the first quarter, is what they said in the press conferences. Kyle Hamilton, Rashad Bateman, Travis Jones also were all out Monday, and they returned today. They were all limited. Lamar was full. Justice Hill and Taven Bryan both did not practice, and that sums up their injury report. Taven Bryan, kind of something to know. He'd played a handful of reps for the defensive line, so that's something that we at least need to monitor. It probably means the 2 of them are out, but sucks to lose another piece of depth while we were on a good note.
Yeah, for sure. What's up, Justin? Happy Thanksgiving. XX Beaks just commented Peebles playing time. He's probably going to have to play, I mean, who else is there? I'm not sure off the top of my head what guys they have on the practice squad, but, they've already been playing Okoye a lot. Brent Urban's been playing a lot. Peebles is going to have to play. I think Taven Bryan is going to be out a few weeks. I think it's a knee sprain. It might end up being like 4 or 5, 6 weeks. So we'll see what they do there. Probably going to need to promote someone off the practice squad or maybe sign another guy off the street to play some snaps there. Rashad Bateman looks like he's going to play. He's been limited both days, but Harbaugh said he's looking good, so would be nice to have him back. Hamilton was limited. Kyle Hamilton not playing in this one would suck, so hopefully he can go. Keon Martin's also back with the ribs, so that's good. And yeah, the Lamar stuff we've talked about a decent amount. Didn't look right in the Jets game. If that toe injury happened, Lamar said it happened in the first quarter. If it happened really, really early in the first quarter, I would almost be glad to hear that and sort of know that that was maybe why he looked like that.
Me too.
I think I saw Spencer Schultz on Twitter talking about, and I have thought this too, the past couple of weeks when Lamar takes off, let's say it's 3rd and 6 and there's a crease up the middle and he sprints for the first, he looks normal when he has to do that. When he doesn't look normal is when he has to try to get outside or make a juke or make a move on someone, try to spin. That's when it's looked off and he's almost like the effort is lower when he's trying to
Hmm.
make someone miss. Um, so that's what I've noticed as we got Plug in here. What's up? So yeah, I hope he is fine. He says he's fine. That obviously doesn't matter. He's a tough guy. But if he can come out of this one without another nagging thing and have the mini buy, that would obviously be great.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a little worried by every week it's a different story. And may that be a Ravens PR kind of thing. Maybe it's a Lamar kind of thing where he wants to say that, something else is bothering every week. Whatever it is, I just don't like that it's something new every week. And it feels like those tend to stack up in the worst way whenever they are piling up. So hoping the best and hoping for a clean game, and especially after it giving a sizable break. So that will be nice. So let's stay on this side with Lamar and the offense and with Bateman, like you mentioned. We're going to go Bengals defense versus the Ravens offense, this side of the football first. And there is way, 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 way too many horrific stats about the Bengals defense. Like, it is so bad. Even with, I guess, think about this, the NFL and the Ravens, I guess, starting out, the Cowboys nowadays, both teams that started off horrific defenses and have completely turned it around. And now the Bengals totally turning their head to any ugly situation regarding the defense and insisting on playing through it. I'm about to give you one stat that's a little, honestly, kind of surprising for them, which is that they're tied for 6th in the NFL with interceptions. Like they technically can get some takeaways, but they're allowing over 32 points per game. They are last in yards allowed, 31st in passing, and 31st in rushing defense. The Ravens have negative excuses to get back on track offensively. There would be no reason. If it's turnovers, then you have got to look in the mirror. If it's linemen, you've got to look at a change. This is as horrible of a defense as you will play all year. That's a pretty easy statement to say, but definitely as cakewalk of a defense as the Ravens are going to play, and that they really should take care of it. One stat that I want to talk about that some people had mentioned with Derrick Henry has been this like back and forth of a high rushing game and then a bad one. I think it's been like 160, 170, 160 again. And I'm really hoping that this is again a week where you can just see him coast and get a light 120 plus, and the Ravens just dominate. The defense looks great. We'll get to that. So you can hope that they hold their own, but I'm going to be disappointed if I don't see the Ravens score 30 plus.
Yeah, I agree. We said that last week and they scored 23 and didn't look good. 23, 23, 27, 28. Their last 4 games. It's not bad, like 23, 27 points. That's not a bad outing. It's like last week they looked terrible in the first half, and I mean they scored 20 points in the second half. But Lamar talked about at his presser about having faster starts. Zay mentioned they need to have faster starts. Ronnie Stanley mentioned that it's great to win these games, but they are not going to get close to a Super Bowl with their offense performing the way it is right now. And Lamar was asked about that today, and he didn't even let the reporter finish. And he was like, I fully agree with Ronnie, 100%. So it was good to see that everyone's on the same page. Yes, this Bengals defense is horrendous. They were bad last year and they got worse this offseason. They fired their defensive coordinator, made him the scapegoat, and he's having a good season with the Colts, Lou Anarumo. And I don't think Al Golden is having that great of a season, obviously. You mentioned some of their stats, like last in yards and all that. In terms of EPA per play allowed, they are 32nd by a long shot. The Commanders are 31st. I'm not going to get into all the details of, because they're weird decimal numbers, but there's a big gap between the Commanders and the Bengals, and the Commanders are 31st, and like 30th, 29th, 28th. The Commanders are close to them, if you know what I mean. And then it's just boom, Bengals. So they're terrible. They're allowing 416 yards per game. The Commanders are 31st, allowing 387 yards per game. So, again, they are well behind the 31st best defense in the NFL. Their D tackles are TJ Slayton, BJ Hill, and Chris Jenkins. Defensive ends without Hendrickson are going to be Miles Murphy and Joseph Osai. Linebackers, Demetrius Knight, the rookie, and Barrett Carter. I think also a rookie. Barrett Carter has played 100% of the snaps since week 6.
Jeez.
Cam Taylor-Britt had to get surgery, season-ending injury for him. He was maybe their one good player in the secondary. Corners are Daxell, DJ Turner, and I think DJ Ivy mainly plays nickel for them, but they have a bit of a rotation there. And then Jordan Battle and our guy, Geno Stone, at safety. I have seen a couple Bengals fans over the last year and a half call him Geno Pebbles because of how bad he's been for them. He does make some plays. I think he might have had a pick last week.
I think he had a pick 6.
Yeah, pick 6 last week against Drake May. So, and also the Bengals defense did play a little better last week. You know, the Patriots scored 26, and the Patriots weren't playing super well in the first half also. So that's something to note as well. I don't have like a ton else, Zach. The Bengals defense allows 91 yards per game to tight ends, most in the NFL by a lot. So we've talked about this for a couple of weeks now. We'd love Likely to get going. We'd love Andrews to get going. It's just tough with Likely this year. I knew this was going to happen when he had the injury in training camp. He has screws in his foot. It is hard to be a good player when you have 3 or 4 screws in your foot. Really sucks for him with the contract. Andrews dropped another pass in the end zone on Sunday. Nothing surprising there. But yeah, you got anything else? I still have a few more things, but
yeah, the tight end note is a big one, and how much I've talked about them earning their contracts this year. This would be a great chance to just put up some good numbers that they need to see, and especially for the future. The big name to just totally monitor and lock in on and be alert with is Rashad Bateman. If he can go, the offense, I assume, will easily, very handily put up 30 plus. What we talked about in post-game with the Jets and how much we were undervaluing Bateman as not only his route running ability, but also how great of a connection he has with Lamar and how undervalued that is. I need to see something like that as well pay dividend, especially with this game, and connect on a big player too. I hope that he goes. If not, just feed Zay. This needs to be 100+ yard game for him. I'm saying all these ridiculous stats and 100+ for Henry, 100+ for Zay, because I expect nothing less in this game. If you're going to get into a shootout, that's fine, but all your players have got to ball this game. There's no excuse for anyone. There's no excuse for a Mark Andrews drop in the end zone again. There's no excuse for a Likely not getting open a few more times with 91 yards allowed per game. Good Lord, tight ends. I just don't see any reason. I'm going to be furious after this game, Thanksgiving night, if they don't put up a good amount of points and blow them out. I'm going to be really mad. It might be me reaching a breaking point with this, which I think is also kind of appropriate because we've got to see some kind of life eventually. And this is the easiest game to prove that. So if we do see them go and throw the ball away a couple times, fumble once or twice, we have to look at, O-line change, whatever it is. I think we're just going to be talking about this team differently. We're walking with a different type of swagger and confidence right now as a team due to this win streak and how we're feeling. It feels like just a different season now. 5 games down the line and 5 wins. So you just want to see them really put it all together in one game, and I'm ready to see that. I also just want to have a freaking sweet Thanksgiving night, and I want you guys to as well. So I'm hoping that happens.
I will disagree with you a little bit. If the Ravens win 10-9, I'll be a happy guy at the end of the night.
Oh.
They just got to keep winning right now. Would you like to see the offense play well against the 32nd ranked defense? Yes. But I'll take a win any day of the week. I like what you said about Bateman. Sometimes we see in sports, basketball, baseball, especially sometimes football, a player struggling, gets injured, is out for a couple weeks, and then they're just their old self again. It's almost like not the injury was good for them, but the time off was good for them. If Bateman comes out on Thursday, first of all, if he plays, if he comes out on Thursday and has a great game, I mean, I would be so happy. That'd be awesome to see. I wanted to talk about Zay a little bit. You mentioned him. He's having a very good season. The one complaint I have with Zay is after the catch, right? I think every single Ravens fan has that complaint with Zay. There are plenty of times where he catches a pass and it looks like there's green grass in front of him and he just immediately jukes backwards or something like that. I understand he's obviously trying to make a play, but he's pretty fast. If he just keeps running, he's going to pick up more yards than juking around like that. But all with that said, he's on pace for almost 1,200 yards this year. I think he's top 15 in yards per route run, which is obviously very good. Having a very efficient year, according to Next Gen Stats. Zay Flowers has created 3 or more yards of target separation on 53% of his targets this season. That is 4th best among wide receivers in the NFL. So we all know Zay can create separation. Would love to see him have a big game against this very much struggling Bengals defense. Shout out to Sutton for a comment here talking about Keaton Mitchell. I have wanted to see more of Derrick Henry and Keaton Mitchell in the backfield together this year. I have not seen it enough. You go back to 2020, maybe 22, 23, the few times that Dobbins was healthy, Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins in the backfield together, I felt like always worked so well and was so efficient. So I would love to see Henry and Mitchell back there, get Mitchell more touches. Tez Walker needs to play more. Every single time he gets a target, he makes the most of his opportunity. So would like to see that as well. And then last thing for me, I think this would be a good spot to start rotating Emory Jones in. You're playing the worst defense in the NFL. Get him some confidence going. You know what I mean? Whether it's left guard, whether it's right guard. I know Falele played pretty well on Sunday, especially for his standard. So maybe it is at left guard in place of Voorhees. Maybe it's right guard. Maybe he doesn't play at all. Maybe he's a 6th lineman when they're in big packages. Who knows? But I think this is the perfect time to get Emory Jones in the game.
That's well said. I think that's been long overdue to at least see him appear in the game, even if it's for one snap, whatever. Just seeing him and giving him a chance, because you can't imagine the Ravens front office is telling any coaching or the coaching telling the front office that their current guard situation is what they want for the future. They're not straight face saying, hey, by the way, Fa'alele, consider him, a future investment because we need to see him no matter the case. If it is Voorhees as well, just letting a young guy in Jones who is capable, sounds like he's spoken of so highly by any coach in the media. I'm just ready to see it too. That'd be a great cherry on top for the offense, especially with Bateman. So we'll flip it to the other side, which is the big topic of conversation. That would be Joe Burrow and his potential return against this Ravens defense. The defense playing incredible. Another game of less than 20 points. But now it's a different story. Joe Burrow comes to town and he's got his number one target still. Last week, they ran the ball a lot. It might have just been because Flacco was quarterback, but they really do see something in the run game. And with Chase Brown, they're getting him a ton of touches. And that was, again, with only one of their two wide receivers playing. Maybe they stick to the run a lot more and try and control the clock. That gave them a chance to be neck and neck, a one-score game with a top-tier opponent like the Patriots last week. And that, I think that's a scary thing when you're talking about a Ravens that aren't playing their best offensively and someone like the Patriots who definitely were. So the Bengals defense on the right side, but also we're saying here, the Ravens defense needs to show that they're here to stay. This look that we're getting where they're dominating games, winning games like you saw last week and the week before. And I hope that it can be proven again against an elite quarterback like Burrow. And what I think it takes is pretty simple. It's letting, whenever Burrow is trying to shake off this rust early on in the game, I'm sure he's not going to start airing it out really quickly, first quarter, first drive, whatever. The Ravens just need to get pressure the whole game. They did very well, I think, the last 2 weeks and really changed the game. It wasn't, big time stats besides last week. Dre Jones 1.5 sacks, but now you have a chance to prove it against a team that everyone is giving more of a chance than you'd think. It's funny to say that this looks like a better opponent because technically it is with Burrow, but it's funny to say that this game means so much more because it is Burrow and because it is Jamar, and the Ravens defense stopping them would be a true media worthy point of, hey, wait, that might be an elite defense now.
Yeah, it's been 51 days since the Ravens have given up 20 or more points. If you would have heard that 2 months ago, you would have not believed whoever said it. We've talked about this plenty of times, Zach. Jets, Browns, Vikings, Dolphins, Bears. They haven't played a good quarterback in a while. They did only allow 17 points to maybe the MVP of the NFL this season, Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
But it's been a while since they played a good quarterback. Caleb Williams has been pretty good recently, but not the veteran elite type of guy that Joe Burrow is. With that said, first game back from the grade 3 turf toe surgery. He wasn't playing, and I know it was a game and a half, but he wasn't playing well at the start of the season. He was just 58%, his completion percentage, and he was just 5.3 yards per attempt. So their offense was not good when he went down. I know it's a very, very small sample size, but just something to monitor. There was a nice comment from Heather mentioning how the Ravens need to sack Burrow early, hit him early. He is one of the toughest guys in the league. With that said, he's coming off an injury. He's going to try to avoid as many hits as possible. The more you do that, the more he's going to try to get the ball out really, really quick. And it's going to be tough for the Bengals offense. Draymond Jones has made a massive impact for the Ravens defense, according to Next Gen. Before the Ravens traded for Draymond Jones, they had a 26.1% pressure rate. After trading for Draymond Jones in the 3 games he's played for the Ravens, that has shot up to 38.6%. If the Ravens had a 38% pressure rate all season, that would put them at 8th in the NFL. So they've had a top 10 pass rush the last 3 weeks with Draymond Jones on the team. Obviously, Mike Green has also really, really stepped it up too, and that has played a big role as well. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase in 2 games versus the Ravens last year. Joe Burrow, 820 passing yards and 9 touchdowns. Jamar Chase, 21 catches, 457 yards, and 5 touchdowns. When I was adding their stats of those 2 games on my, iPhone calculator just so I could read those off for you guys, I did it like 3 times because I was like, there's no way. There's no way Chase had almost 500 yards in 2 games against the Ravens, but he did. So got to stop him. It is easier without T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Obviously, Chase is having a good year. I think he's 4th or 5th in receiving yards. Hasn't played with his guy all year as well. I think John Harbaugh mentioned at his presser that Chase is a guy that they definitely will double or will think about doubling, something along those lines, especially, when he's the only guy out there that you're really concerned about. Andre Yoshivas is probably going to be the other guy out there. He only has 300 yards this year on 42 targets. They have Noah Fant and Mike Gesicki at tight end, both solid players, but neither are world beaters. And then Chase Brown is a factor out of the backfield. He is 252 yards on 57 targets. Comment from Sutton. Yes, the Ravens were 2-0 in those 2 games because of how good their offense was. If their offense can't get it together, the Ravens could get blown out in this one if their defense is just as bad as they have been against the Bengals and their offense doesn't get together. So that is concerning. But yeah.
They have a luxury with not playing T. Someone commented, I think it was XX Beast, that I want us blitzing all game. You have a luxury with that, knowing that you can maybe double Jamar, maybe make Yosovas beat you. It's a big deal to be playing them like this because you probably do get this win, maybe even handedly. Like I'm going to predict a win, and maybe in the future, in 2 more weeks after this, still like over 14 days plus, still, you probably will play both. You probably will play a fully healthy Bengals offense, just, speaking hypothetically. But for this game, Ravens can do whatever they want. It seems like it's the defenses of past. Think about what they did against the Vikings. Almost letting McCarthy air it out to Justin Jefferson, and the DBs technically beating them. There's a couple of weird plays where Jefferson fell down, whatever, and maybe if that's Chase, he wouldn't do that. But you still have to think about the efficiency that the Ravens have seen, the defense has seen against offenses that had been putting up good numbers, and that includes the Bears. I think I consider Caleb Williams a pretty good quarterback, and even then, I think Rome still had a good day, but they were held in check, and the Ravens defense played pretty good. So if that happens, where Chase is getting a lot of yards and whatever, I think Claudia commented Burrow a Chase Merchant. If those two are having a day, but they're just not scoring points, have at it. And I think that's what the Ravens are going to have a mentality for, taking Chase Brown out of the game like they have this last couple of weeks with running backs, and even last week where the Jets came back and started to get their running back the ball more in Breece Hall, trying to control the clock and stay close, just given time-wise. Ravens can still take an advantage as they can hopefully lean on a run game and counter that. So I hope that it's high fastball, freaking all day on offense, and then defense is right where we've seen them the last couple of weeks. No random lapse here against a Bengals team that hopefully has a rusty Burrow playing.
Yeah, man. Malachi Starks has amazing ball skills. That makes it harder to go deep. He can run across the field. He has great range, and he can out-jump a receiver and not even just bat the ball away, but make a catch. And you got to be worried about that as a quarterback when you're going deep. So, yeah, Bengals don't run the ball. They are 32nd in the NFL, last, obviously, in rushing attempts with 214. That's just 19 rushing attempts per game. In terms of scheme, they not mainly. A lot of what they do is inside zone. They average 5 yards a carry when they run inside zone. They have 25 first downs on that this year. Not as good when they run man schemes and outside zone. According to Next Gen, across the first 3 weeks of the season, Chase Brown averaged minus 1.2 yards before contact.
Oh my
That is
gosh.
how bad their run blocking at least was. But weeks 4 through 12, it's improved to 1.7
Hmm.
yards per contact, which is the fifth most among running backs since then. So
He's been balling.
at least their run blocking on their O line has improved a lot. I know their pass blocking is their O line has improved over the course of the season
Yeah.
overall. Um, Still not great, but um, it has improved. So because of the Bengals running a lot of inside zone, inside runs, obviously John Jenkins is going to need to continue to play very well. Travis Jones, Ravens have been leaning on him a ton. Couple clips of him, shedding off double teams when I was watching the film, making tackles in the backfield. He's been awesome. And then Okoye is going to have to play probably a lot more without Taven Bryan. And we'll see if Peebles gets called up. Obviously, Urban is a factor as well. Um, but yeah, man, that's, I think, all I have on this Bengals offense. Just, I mean, the Ravens have a great secondary. So, with Starks and Wiggins back there, Humphrey back with the finger. Awuzie's been awesome. It's tough to throw on the Ravens right now. So obviously, would hope Jamar Chase doesn't have 250 yards. Would hope Jamar Chase doesn't have almost 500 yards in the 2 games against the Ravens this year. But yeah, I don't expect the Bengals to score 40 points. I think they're going to have success, but I don't think it's going to look like it did last year.
Yeah, that's like a good question. If we want to stick to this Ravens dominance and predict them, like we're about to do, score predictions, predict them to score 20 points or less or more, whatever. This would be the first chance I think it really could happen, because Browns and Jets, I think we both gave them points. I don't remember the final scores, but either way, this would be a real chance at that streak being broken, just because I think we have that much respect for Burrow. So, score predictions, Mr. Brad, and throw your score predictions in the comments. We want to see some, get a feel for how everyone's talking about this game going into Thanksgiving night. Again, I'm really hopeful the Ravens score a lot, and that's probably the range I'm going to go with. Maybe like an odd number, like 31 or 32. I think actually maybe Steelers scored like 32 on them, so maybe I'll go like 33. Ravens 33, and Bengals. I'm going to be a little ballsy here and say that the Ravens defense continues this trend, even if it's a weird number like 18 points. The Ravens get it done and handedly. This is a team that the Ravens also just hate nowadays. It's funny. Ben Roethlisberger was talking about rivalries within our division now, and talking about how Ray Lewis used to hit me and say, "Hey, I'm gonna come get you again." And that's respect. But now with like the Bengals, it feels like the Bengals specifically, we just don't like each other. It's just a hate thing. It's not a we're our division rivals in the Steelers, where it just feels like a fun big game, and it's not like oh man, I'd take any of them Steelers heads right off. No, it's nothing like that. So I hope the Ravens just play pissed and show that they're here to stay, and the defense is here to stay, and win this game and continue the less than 20-point streak.
What's your exact score prediction?
33-18.
33-18. Let's see here. I am going to go Ravens 28, Bengals 24. I think I don't want to pick the Ravens to score 30 because I'm trying to reverse jinx them and their offense really gets it together for once. But the reason I'm picking 28 is because that would be, unless something weird happens, that would be 4 touchdowns, right? That wouldn't be some weird amount of field goals where you're settling inside the 5. I think we would be happy with 4 touchdowns and 28 points. I really do, unless, one was like a pick 6 or something, in terms of being happy about the offense. And I do think the Bengals are going to have success. Like I said, I don't think this game is going to be as crazy as they were last year in terms of the Ravens defense playing terribly. So I think Bengals score a couple touchdowns, 2 or 3 touchdowns, kick a field goal or two. And I think the Ravens win this one 28-24. They're playing in the Purple Risings. Primetime game. I guess last home primetime game of the year, unless the Patriots game gets flexed or the Week 18 Steelers game gets flexed. Hopefully one of those does. But
is Packers also TBD?
Yeah.
Well, all three of them? Well,
that's in
maybe.
Lambeau, though. So Packers and Lambeau's TBD. The Patriots is at 1, but I'm hoping it gets flexed.
Maybe it does get flexed. That'd be
the
sweet.
week that the Ravens play the Patriots, Sunday Night Football that weekend is Bengals Dolphins, which is horrendous. So
crap.
You would hope. You would hope. XX Beast is going to be there. Anyone who's going to be there, have fun. Be as loud as you can.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope everyone has a great holiday.
Me too. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for coming out. If you joined us live, if you're watching it on a rerun or after this was recorded, we appreciate you as well. All the support through this year has been awesome. And we're going to continue to have a blast doing this with you guys. We'll be live after it on Thanksgiving night if you want to come by and say what's up. But besides that, that's all we got for you guys tonight. And I think we'll see you guys in the next one.
See you guys. Actually, Zach, I did forget. We should shout some people out.
Of course. Yeah. For
being here tonight. Fish Thick, happy Thanksgiving. Prime Trust, XX Beast, Fran, Sutton, Justin, Plug, Amiraphis, Wrigley, M Hairstove 24, Heather DeReal. Anyone else, Zach? Claudia. D Money.
Shout out all you guys.
All y'all guys and girls. Thank you so much. We will see you guys Thursday night. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Peace.